What are the things that people are most afraid of when it comes to investing in their first rental? Is it funding? Is it finding the right property? Is it having those tenants that you're gonna hate?
I think most people are probably afraid of the market. They don't know, where to buy, they don't know what to buy, and they don't know what to charge. And so they kind of resist stepping into the market because they're afraid of it. If they speak to someone who speaks market, they're less afraid. And so I would advise anybody who's a first-time investor, go talk to somebody who routinely buys and sells property in whatever market you're interested in, and they're going to point you into the right direction.
Not to mention that if you take a look at what the news is telling you, it's always doom and gloom. And if that's your only source of market knowledge, it's generally going to keep you from making any sort of decision.
Absolutely. From the beginning of the pandemic, all I read or all I saw on social media, YouTube, Facebook was, there's going to be a big crash. It's going to be a big crash. It's going to be a big crash. And while there was fluctuation, noticeable fluctuation in the market, there has been no crash.
Yeah.
There's been no crash. And people who withheld investment because, that crash is coming, that crash is coming, that crash is coming, have lost out.
Yeah, no doubt. Think about all those folks that sat on the sidelines, like in the last 3 years, right? If we start thinking about 2020, we get the pandemic, the news says, okay, this is the world's over, right? And you shouldn't buy. And all of the people that had real estate saw an increase in their values of approximately 20% plus. In some markets, way more than that. And the people that sat out of it because they were watching the news and leaning on that doom and gloom are sitting on the sidelines thinking, had I done this during that time, look how much better off I'd be right now.
The surefire way to lose money in real estate is to not get into real estate. Pure and simple.
I find that even in some of the investments that I've made that I may have not made looking back in retrospect, time makes me look like a genius, right? Because if you don't buy something quite right, if you are able to hold it long enough, especially in the market that we're in, especially with everything that we've gone through here in the last few years, as it appreciates and as that note is being paid down, it starts looking like a better and better investment with that time. How does a landlord go about not having to deal with attorneys in this market?
So I tell my staff this simple truth all the time. The people who come to attorneys are one of two or both. Either they don't know what they're doing, or they don't know how to talk to people. And if you already know, hey, I'm a rookie, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna go head first into this, you're gonna get yourself in trouble. You should talk to a professional, talk to somebody who's walked that road, who's been down that path. If you already know, I don't deal well with people, then you're inviting a situation where problems are gonna occur. So we step in between the landlord and the tenant, and we fix problems, but half of the time, I'm telling landlords how to avoid those problems. So you don't need an attorney until you need an attorney. And by that time
you need an attorney regardless. No doubt. Something always happens where I'm going to need counsel at some point or another. And I actually can say that I'm decent at dealing with people. So I imagine that people that don't have some of those skills will need that resource. But on the other hand, how can you avoid dealing with those hateful tenants?
You may establish conflict with your tenant because you did something wrong. And you can avoid that by not doing things wrong. If you've got a tenant that you just don't know at the onset, like right from the beginning, it's like, I don't know, I got a feeling, but hey, they had their rent and they had their deposit, I'm gonna take them. They signed the lease. That's not good enough. You have to know enough about your tenant from the beginning to feel pretty good that this is going to be a long-lasting relationship. If you've got a bad feeling or question mark, walk away. They don't meet your criteria. And you ask, Ernie, what are you talking about criteria? Well, if you don't have a checklist, a tried and true checklist, these are the standards that I want in every tenant. You can't think about that in retrospect. You can't say, man, if only I had demanded a 700 credit score. Man, if only I demanded they actually had a job. You can't do that backwards because once they're in, they're in. But if they never cross that threshold line, because you say only this kind of tenant makes it onto my property, you're going to be much happier, they're going to be much happier, things are going to work out, and you're going to make money.
I agree 100%.
Landlords, as always, we welcome you to follow us on our Instagram page. If you're not a member yet, join us on Facebook. And if you enjoy what you see here, give us a thumbs up. Click that like button. We enjoy that very much. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing.